Division I schools. I'd like to throw out the Ivy League schools, of which there are 8 schools that nobody transfers from, and Stanford. That's 9 schools, which takes it down to 342. You get rid of those 37, that's 335 where there were transfers. According to Mike Krzyzewski, I would tell you this: the one and done from high school is not the story of college basketball. The one and done with the 5th-year graduate player is what is the main story for college basketball. There are many, many more of those than there are one and dones. And that's hurt a lot of mid-major programs when these kids leave and go. Very few one and done from high school, very few compared to that. Okay, according to Roy Williams, it's hard not because of the culture, everybody around the players, their families, some, but even more so the people around them. Athletes need to be satisfied immediately. It's got to the results immediately. Okay, Gary Waters, Cleveland State. What bothers me more is that some schools are poaching players from other schools to the point that they have a war room and assistant coaches are assigned to track players at other schools who are on schedule to graduate with eligibility remaining. They make lists of players to raid and then get the word to the kid through a contact that they're interested in signing him for the final year. Those coaches don't have to put in the work and they get a finished product, a ready-made player. It's not right. I am penalized because I coach a kid up. I got him to graduate early. I know of 6 or 7 major coaches who had multiple players transfer and then lost their jobs the next season because the team didn't perform. I don't know if people realize how severe a problem this has become. We obviously have a guy in the room who doesn't realize what a problem it's become. Okay, according to Frank Martin, everyone blames the college coaches. Oh, we're running players off. These kids transfer 4 or 5 times in high school. What do you think they're going to get to college and have an epiphany and stay? Like in Broderick Jones' case, he was at 3 high schools, okay? 3 high schools, all right? We go to recruit kids AAU ball, and they play on one team at 9 o'clock in the morning, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they're playing on another team, all right? It's the culture of the millennial that we're all dealing with. And it's not just in college basketball, okay? It's in the workplace. The average millennial right now has 5 jobs within the first 3 years of graduation. I feel like we've really done a pretty good job in terms of retention. And I'd like to point out this, that when we got here, we had a 904 APR. The school had lost a scholarship the year before we got here because of their APR. Had it gone another year under, then we would have been banned from postseason play, like Connecticut was 2 years ago. Our now 4-year average with the APR is 968, okay? So we inherited that situation. Because of that, we brought in young freshmen who we felt like were students, who we felt like could grow within the program. And the average right now is that 41% of all freshmen in college basketball, Steve, leave by the end of their sophomore year, okay? They all leave by the end of their sophomore year. So we've really done a great job in that area, all right? Okay.
Now, I've reached out to you on numerous occasions. You don't return texts, you don't return phone calls, and you just read a lot of different comments from a lot of coaches around college basketball.
Right.
What people want to know is they want to know out of your mouth what's happening.
Well,
they
you
want
know
to know
what?
for
Yeah.
exactly
Well, you know what?
what's
Let me tell you what I don't respond to. I don't respond to journalists that just throw things out. Just throw it against the wall and see if it sticks, and now we'll get somebody to come back. Most people expect the people that they get their information from, and I've been around a lot of great journalists, okay, in Chicago, in New Orleans, in Los Angeles. In my opinion, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, okay? So I don't respond to that. People who know not and do not know that they know not are fools, and you shun them, okay? And that's what I've done with you. You throw things out. Omega Harris, I get a call back. Omega Harris, we've heard he's not on scholarship. See, that's not correct. So why would I call you every time you throw out something that's incorrect? I've got other things to do with my job. I can't do that 24/7, okay? Can't do that 24/7. You just throw things out. We heard that Terry Wynn may be leaving. We heard Dominic Artis may be leaving. Really? Really? And who do you get your information from? Who do you get your information from?
We get it from
Pickaxe, is that where you get your information from?
We get it from all the other sources around town that are trying to get
You know what you try to do?
coaches.
We'll give you information when we're ready to give you information, all right? We'll give you information when the information is ready to be given out, okay? But I'm gonna give it to people that are responsible, that understand what they're doing, that are educated in our game, all right? That understand what the hell's going on.
Getting away, I guess from the transfer part of it, you lose your 2 leading scorers. past couple of years, you have to change it where you kind of mention, all these coaches mentioned about people in their ears. You have to kind of mention your message to the kids. That way you're reaching through them directly in terms of staying and giving that 1-year development and kind of X out all the stuff that goes around.
There are going to be so many different reasons why these young people are leaving, okay? They've got AAU coaches, they've got high school coaches, they've got parents, okay, that may be pulling in. It may be playing time, okay? We got a case with a guy right now, it's a girlfriend, okay? It's a girlfriend. He misses his sweetie.
Talk about McSwiggan.
He misses his sweetie right now, okay? And she's up at a junior college, okay? And he wants to get closer to her, okay? So these are things that happen. They happen. They're happening all over the United States. And I really encourage you guys that are responsible to go and read this information that we've tried to provide you, okay, about what's going on in our game. I mean, it's really, really staggering what's happening. The 2014-15 season, there were 79 teams that had 3 transfers, okay? We had 1 that year, okay? We had 1. The teams with 4 transfers, there were 74 teams, okay? It's staggering. And you know, we're really, that I'm seeing, and what's bothering me is what I'm seeing is it's the higher end schools that are on this list of 4 transfers. And that's where you're seeing people actually dismiss kids, which we haven't done any of. We haven't dismissed any of these kids, all right? We may have had a discipline situation where we did, okay? But we're not doing that because of playing time. And by the way, I respect Christian Romines. How he handled his situation was really well done. He came in our office and said, bottom line, coach, I know, we were going to redshirt Christian Romines. Christian Romines, a young guy who came in here as the youngest freshman in the country, right? We got dealt a blow with the injury that we had to Matt Wells, all right? We lost 4 starters a year ago. We lost 4 starters. We came back this year and we lost basically 2 before the season started, all right? So we really lost 6 over a 2-year period. So we couldn't afford to redshirt Christian, but now he sees Matt Wilm coming back. And between the time we signed Matt, we bring in Kelvin Jones, 6'11", 240. He had a chance to play pickup ball with Kelvin Jones. He thinks he's a hell of a player, okay? So all of a sudden he says, may not be some playing time. Same thing happened with Perez years ago. Perez is a starter. He sees Mackenzie Moore sitting out in our program. He's worried a little bit about playing time. So he books and he leaves. By the way, our man, I get a call from a guy saying that the reason McSwiggan left, according to our man here, was that he was mad at the athletic director. He was mad at the athletic director because the athletic director couldn't get him eligible, and guys were getting eligible everywhere. He suggested that I go talk to our women's coach, Keitha Adams, okay, about how to get somebody eligible, as if we didn't spend $12,000 trying to get somebody eligible, okay? Had nothing to do with that. It's complete fiction what's coming out from his mouth, complete fiction. But he wants me to go on the air and respond to that. Some rumor that comes on some social website or some blogger, as if he's getting his news from CBS Sports or ABC Sports or ESPN. It's just complete fiction. Throw it against the wall and let's see if it sticks. This is a guy that I went on his show 10 times as the coach of the Bulls, the Hornets, and USC as a favor to Don Haskins. I wish I'd have never done that. What you got?
Those obviously you can't name any perspective.
Don't shake your head. You know I'm dead ass right.
That's wrong, and you're classless for saying that.
No, I'm dead ass right. I'm dead ass right. Yeah, I'm dead ass right.
No, you're not, because you know why?
It's fiction.
How about
you're
the
a fiction?
How about
your
the
show
Pulse
is
of El Paso?
fiction.
How about all the fans? How about all the season
fiction.
ticket holders?
What
that have been
about
upset?
What do you want
and they've
about
been upset with the lack of results over the last 6 years,
Is that
and they're
right?
tired of not going to the postseason. They're tired of not going to the NCAA tournament. How about that?
We were in the NIT a year ago.
Yeah, that really means a lot for El Paso right now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? We lost 4 starters, so we didn't quite get there this year, Steve.
So every year is going to be the same thing, Coach. Every
Is that
year.
right? Well,
Is that what it's going to
Steve,
be?
if you're upset about us not winning games and you want me fired because of not winning games, that's your prerogative.
I don't have any problem
Okay?
with you. Matter of fact, as far as you getting fired, that's not it at all. All I want is part of the reason we do what we do.
Let me tell you what we've tried. Let me tell you what we've tried to do.
What we do is we don't get people to give us the answers and don't give us to keep us informed.
So you just throw out
You're
fiction?
talking about
You throw
people
out
being
fiction.
informed.
It's
It's
fiction.
not
It's
fiction.
fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction.
What is a sports talk show? It's an opinion-based talk show.
That should be based on the facts, and yours is based on fiction.
That's
And
not
there's
true.
a big difference.
That's because we don't get fed stories like other people in the media. When you feel it's time to feed, then you feed.
Well, let
We
me tell
haven't
you
been
something.
fed in 6 years,
Yeah.
Coach, not 6 years.
Why would I feed you? Why would I feed you?
Because we are the
What-
only
who-
local game in town that talks to the
you're giving
media about
yourself too
UTEP
much
basketball
credit.
every
You're giving
day.
yourself too much credit.
No, please.
Yeah.
I've been doing this a long time. Before you got here, I've been doing it after you got here.
Let me give a quick update here, a quick update, okay? He's talking about not going to the tournament, all right? I want to say this. 10 years ago, there were 10 at-large bids for mid-majors, all right? This year, there was one, Wichita State, who I don't consider to be a mid-major, all right? Coach is making $3.5 million. They play in front of 12,200 every year. Our first year here, all right? We had 11 seniors, and we've had to rebuild the program, Steve.
You have. Absolutely.
All right. And we've had to do it with freshmen. I could have made choices. I could have gone and taken JUCOs. I could have taken all these transfers, right? These fifth-year guys could have done that. But I chose to try to do it what I thought was the right way, given our APR situation. And we tried to build it with freshmen who we kept around C.J. Cooper. We kept around Cedric Lane. We kept around Julian Washburn, okay? John Bohannon were here for 4 years and came through it. We're really proud of that. And we knew when we had to sign 11, okay, in 1 year, which is ridiculous, that there was gonna be some attrition. And you're looking at the numbers, that there was gonna be some attrition. And so we continue to try to build it with them. Have we had a couple setbacks? Yeah, but everybody does, okay? We lost Isaac Hamilton, hated that in August. Do I think we would have won more games, maybe gone to the tournament? Maybe so, okay? Lee Moore, we just lost him, hate it, went to the pros. By the way, Steve, do you know how many guys have declared for the NBA draft this year? Do you have the numbers?
How many?
Well, I mean, you're the guy with the shoe leather on the street. How many guys have declared for the draft?
I don't have an exact answer.
You see, you don't have any idea, but when that story came out, I was going down to your studio, to go into your studio, to go do a show to talk about Lee Moore. And I thought I better listen, which I've never done, on the way down there, see what was going on. And out of your mouth, there must be something wrong with me because Lee Moore declared. Well, let me tell you something, 164 guys have declared for the NBA draft this year that are underclassmen, okay? 164 guys.
The question was not, is something wrong with you? The question is this, and this is what we've been saying for the last 3 weeks. Can players of today relate to coaches as well now as they could 10, 20 years ago?
No, it wasn't.
That was the question we posed on the air over and over again.
No, your question wasn't that. It was, can they relate to me?
Mhm.
All right? So let me tell you this, bud. Let me tell you this. You go through this list, and I'm really proud to be a part of this list that are having these guys leave. If that's what you're trying to tie in together, which I think is irresponsible as hell. Charlotte, the last 2 years, has had 4 guys leave, okay? Iowa State has had 4 guys leave this year. Louisiana Tech's had 4 guys leave this year. Memphis has had 4 guys leave this year. John Beilein at Michigan has had 4 guys leave this year. I think he's a hell of a coach, good guy. Kim Anderson at Missouri's had 4 guys leave this year. Nebraska's had 4 guys leave. Thad Matta at Ohio State has had 4 guys leave this year. Okay? Why can't you inform your listenership of those things? You know why? Because you're irresponsible. Next question.
Obviously, you can't comment directly, but a couple guys that you were involved with before signing Adrian Moore, is this class done, or you maybe?
And I'm sorry, what is your name again, sir?
Alex Nicholas?
Alex, okay, go ahead. What is your question?
You can't obviously comment directly, but before Adrian Moore, there was a couple of big men that had, talked about still pursuing UTEP as
Like who?
class closed.
Like who?
What, a guy like Kalia Turner?
Kalia Turner visited here in the fall. He visited here in October, and we walked away from that situation. We had a chance to sign Kalia Turner, but we decided we did not want to. And that's another thing, I got some, it's just absolutely unbelievable. I've never dealt with fiction like this, but I got some sheet here. Some guy who I think used to be a guy that sat in the stands. You don't want to listen to him because you join them. Some guy named Chris from, what's the name of this thing, Pickaxe Social, wrote that we'd had 42 guys signed, which 17 never played a game here. I'd like to let everybody know that sometimes we sign guys because we got a great vehicle here at our university called Prop 48. We can sit a guy out here, which they can't do in the Big 12, the Big 10, the SEC, the Pac-10, all right? And as a result, sometimes we will sign a guy knowing that he might be a stretch academically in the fall, knowing that we could sit him out the following spring and have him pay his own way on the guaranteed student loan and the Pell Grants, right? So sometimes we will take stretches on guys, knowing in this world of transfers that we might need a guy sitting out, ready to step in for that void of that guy that you've left. Knowing that these guys may not ever make their grades, may not choose to come here as a Prop 48. If they don't, they might go to a junior college or go elsewhere. 10 of these 17 names of this guy put down were guys that we signed as Prop 48 athletes. 3 of the 17 guys whose names are on this list, which you seem to quote as just being gospel, Steve Kaplowitz, okay? 3 of the 17 guys were guys that we called, and in conversation, Dwayne Benjamin from Lake Charles, Louisiana, I called him and I said, Dwayne, we understand you're the #1 football player in the state of Louisiana. I loved you in basketball. Would you consider coming to UTEP playing basketball? Coach, I'd rather play basketball than football. I don't get to the airport, and it's on social media that the guy's committed. Nobody asked him to commit. Never asked him to commit. But we're going to put his name down as a guy that chose not to show up. And then he's going to go report it on the airwaves. This is what's so irresponsible about what's going on. We got another guy that's on the list, Mikhail McKay, who, by the way, we're trying to work with Mike Price to get him a hell of a football player. And we know that if we sign a guy that plays football and basketball, we can get an extra scholarship. Mikhail was a guy who was a good basketball player. We're going to sign him, let him play football, hope that he comes here. He chose not to sign with us in football because he had an offer from the University of Arkansas, where he went to Arkansas. Oh, and by the way, he transferred from there to Cincinnati, where he started at Cincinnati, okay? So that's the climate that we're in. And then we have Isaac Hamilton on the list, who was tampered with and went elsewhere. So these are the things, guys, this is the reason why we're gathered today, so that we can try to inform the uninformed. Any other questions? Okay, let me see if there's anything I wanted to add to this. By the way, our APR is now 968, okay? And we're out of the woods. We don't have any of those issues. Every year we've been over the minimal cutoff of 930. And that's based on retention and eligibility. Another thing, I did want to address this. It was reported that we'd only had 4 guys, 4 student athletes, Julian Washburn, Cedric Lang, Hooper Vint, C.J. Cooper, who have played their entire 4-year career here, okay? Well, first year we were here, we lost 11 seniors. So we've been here 5 years where we brought guys in, okay? He didn't add John Bohannon to this case, but I would like to bring this up because I think it's important. That the guys that we've had graduate from here are Hooper Vint, Irvin Morris, Tevin Caldwell, who, by the way, was on scholarship a year ago, Victor Mbachu, who was a walk-on, Matt Wilm, Malcolm Moore, a junior college player, Julian Washburn, Cedric Lang, C.J. Cooper, okay, and that would be it, all right? And by the way, you know, we've got another group coming, and in this group that's coming, we've got 10 guys who are on the had 3.0 GPAs or above, because I understand Mr. Kaplowitz challenged the character of our individuals on the radio.
Didn't do that.
You challenged the character of our issue, which is really, really irresponsible.
How would you know you don't listen?
I got a phone call telling me.
You believe everything you hear?
You damn right I did. From everybody but you. So, anyhow, I'm sorry that this thing degenerated to this level, okay? But I think it's really important that you know what we're trying to do, how we're trying to do it. And it's not easy right now. Part of the problem at the mid-major level right now is we can get pilfered from both ends with these transfers. You're seeing guys who are playing well, they're getting hit from above, which really hasn't happened to us, but guys who are not playing as much, getting hit from below, the lower major schools, hitting them. I talked to a coach yesterday who told me that he felt like as many as 70% of the schools in the country were basically looking at other people's rosters and trying to determine who graduated early and trying to lob in calls to their AAU coach or whatever, just saying, hey, look, he's putting up good numbers. You sure he wants to stay for his 5th year at the school? Which really puts us all in a real compromising situation as coaches, because our goal is to graduate kids. And I think at this level, it's really important for us because we're not always getting top 100 players. And I'm not going to apologize for the talent that we brought in here, because I do think Lee Moore could play. I think Vince Hunter could really, really play, okay? And by the way, of the group of 10 props that we talked about trying to sit some of the beneficiaries that we've had of that were Julian Washburn, okay? We had Kelvin Jones this year, who will be eligible next year, okay? Let me see here. Matt Williams, who had to sit a year because of where he was, and Vince Hunter. Guys that we took stretches on in the fall, that maybe some of the bigger schools weren't recruiting because they were worried about their academics, they were worried about where they were. We thought we're going to go out here on a limb and hope that these guys make it. And they're talented enough that they're going to be very hard for us to get. If they were full qualifiers, it's going to be very, very difficult. And let's hope that somehow or another they get eligible in the spring and or the summer. Okay, and if they do, then yeah, we benefited from some of them. And I hope that we can get a couple more of them sitting out right now. You'll hear our name associated with other prospects. We're at 13 on scholarship right now. We like our 13 guys. And you'll hear our name associated with other prospects right now because we're never going to stop recruiting. And we're going to try to bring in another walk-on or two this year. We feel like we could still use another big perimeter shooter, a 6'5", 6'6" guy that could really play. But you know what? With Jake Flagger coming back and Trey and Paul and some of the kids that we've got, we feel like we've got some depth at a lot of positions. Deion Barrett and Trey Touchette and Dominic Artis at the point and Omega. Tim Cameron can play the two. He can play the wing. You know, this new group, the two guys that we just added, we feel like can play, and Jake Flagger. I kind of like where we are right now.
Coach, last year you had a lot of ball movement, a lot of speed up and down the court. Do you see your team playing that like that next year?
You know, we're going to play according to what our best 5 players can do. And last year we made a mid-season change. We decided to go play with 4 guards. We'll always try to get our 5 best guys out there, but I would hope that this year that would change a little bit. And that's one thing I took from Coach Haskins many years ago is that at this place, you go out there and he used to always say, kids don't necessarily grow up wanting to go to school here, but we're going to find the very best player we can, and then we're going to fit our system to what that kid can do. We'll change our system to fit what he can do. And my hope is that we're going to be able to get bigger and maybe play 2 bigs, Terry Wynn and whoever, you know, Kelvin Jones and Matt, whatever. Move Terry out to play some small forward. But we're going to get bigger, and as a result, be able to defend the basket better, be able to rebound it better, okay? And at the same time, play with guard play and still try to play with pace. We still want to get the ball up and down the floor. We're always going to try to take advantage of easy baskets. And my hope is that we'll have more opportunities to do that based on our ability to go back and go rebound it. But again, I will say this. We lost 3 starters last year, and then we lost a 4th in May with Vince Hunter, okay? We turned around here this year, and I think our man Kaplowitz expected us to go to the NCAA tournament. Probably wasn't going to happen, all right? Probably wasn't going to happen. We had to rebuild it, and then we turned around and we lost Matt Will, and we lost McSwiggan before the year started. And then Vince Hunter declared for the draft. So we not only lost the 4, but we had to turn around and lose 2 more to begin the following year. I was pretty pleased with the fact that we won 19. I hope that we can build on that and win more in the future. I can tell you that I never rest in terms of trying to recruit and get good players in. I've had 19 guys make it in the NBA in 22 years as a head coach. And in my 5 years, 5 to 6 years at the University of New Orleans, we had the 5 winningest teams in New Orleans history, okay? 4 conference championships. At Iowa State, we had the 3 winningest teams in Iowa State's history until Fred Hoiberg got there. And at USC, we had the 3 winningest teams in USC's history. Our goal, more so here than any place I've ever been, is to do this very same thing here. Because my father played here, and because Coach Haskins, the guy that gave me my chance, is a guy that I worked hard for. But I really hate my tone here today, but it's all based on one guy who I think is completely irresponsible. That's all I got to say.